Well, looks like we have more Albaz lurking around than I expected. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more. It's kind of holy crap. We actually get a next play tournament breakdown. We have not seen one of these in a hot second. Sometimes because Japan isn't happy with their format, we see things kind of bouncing around, but it looks like things have changed. Albaz has kind of returned back to the throne as one of the more popular decks right now. Yes, I mean, the deck did get support in Burst Protocol. I mean, nobody's going to sit here and look the other way with that. But because we have received this new support, we're really starting to see some challengers coming out of the woodwork and actually testing, some of the variables and some of the variations that these cards kind of provide with the deck. So, I mean, you had 4 of these in representation for your event. Your next most represented deck was actually Yummy, of all things. Surprisingly enough, I mean, Yummy's still one of those decks that is very, very strong within the meta. You're not really going to see this deck falling off anytime soon. It's still going to grind very, very, very nicely. Now, we also have what appears to be Memento doing very, very interesting down here. We also had Frightfur. I really wish I'd gotten the chance to see some of these lists. We also had an Elven Notes deck that managed to really, really surpass my expectations. Elven Notes has really been one of these decks that has continued to kind of pique player interest and really just looks to challenge a lot of, what we expected. It is honestly what I would feel one of the best competitors, in the post-Burst Protocol space, because it just makes Synchro good stuff even better. We do have a DDD Challenger also for this event. I'm happy to see that. Looks like we also had Medius the Pure, so we have Archmage and Elven Notes. Wow. We also do have good old Odeon and Friends. Not all that surprised to continue to see that deck performing. OCG still continues to get Odeon into certain spots within the top cut. We also have Hero. I mean, okay. We also have, Draco Tail. Now remember, they have Ketu limited to 1, so much worse off there. We also have a Numeron list? No way. I wish I'd seen that. And we also had an Exosister Challenger too. Now we creep on in to your top cut here. Now your top cut actually is a top cut for once. You did have 2 branded decks making their way into top cut. You actually got half of the branded field doing absolutely well for this event. I'm going to clap for that, man. I think that's pretty solid. Now, we did have 1 Yummy Challenger making their way into top cut. You really should not be surprised to see this, but I mean, the turnover for Yummy is absolutely abysmal this time, man. You had 3 in overall contention, but only 1 was able to make it into top cut. Okay, we also do see that our DDD Challenger overcame a lot of the top cut here as well. They found their way into top 8, which is good. Exosister also did very well. We also have our Elven Notes deck providing us with some amazing turnarounds. I mean, I think this is one of the decks I was most excited to see making their way into top cut. And once again, we have this Frightfur deck. Now, before somebody asks, no, I do not have the Frightfur list. I did my research. I looked into it. It does not exist. I am sorry to tell you that. And then we also have a Memento Challenger. So, I mean, your top 8 is glorious. This is the kind of stuff you want to see on. Pass on over to Decklist. Hi, Edit MCool40 here. The Frightfur list actually dropped a couple hours ago, so I figured I would include this within the video because this is interesting because it's maximizing on triple Change of Heart, and you've also got triple Thrust in here to be able to toggle in to like Shaddoll Fusion, for example, if you were really wanting to go down that route. Also do see that we are side decking the Edge Imp Sickle as well. Interesting. I mean, of course, you do get to see dimensional barriers, a lot more of that unfun stuff that you're used to seeing within these side deck variations, but I'm not surprised to see that, this is kind of what we're seeing develop here. Honestly, this is a win if you are an Edge Imp or, a Frightfur player in general, so enjoy your W today. Congratulations to first place out of this event actually being Yummy. Now, Japanese Yummy is taking advantage of Borreload Savage Dragon, and I know that's not exactly something that most of us want to hear. We want to be like, oh, meta is, there are differences between us. And we talk a lot about, the status of ban cards. I mean, this is just one of those bad apples that, makes things a little bit broken. Now, because, Yummy is low level, they get access to things like the little Tatsugo Shiro. They also can play the Cupid Pitch to get into the level modification stuff. And you really get into some, I want to say, cutesy little things that, a build like this is actually able to do with this finer stuff. Obviously, one engage, one Hornet drones has been the way that the OCG Yummy build has been going. I am not surprised to see a lot of these options. I mean, double call by the grave and the crossout, all very straightforward. So this is, even with 2 Snatchy, this deck is still one of the more formidable lists you're going to have to deal with. Next up here, we have Exosister. Now, this deck really, really, really got the glow up, man, because honestly, they got 2 insanely good custom cards. The fact that their new spell card gives you the ability to force the opponent to banish cards from their graveyard, not only turning on all of your Exosister cards, but they got a new Exceed monster that's able to go search for it. So they really kind of tied up the loose ends that it felt like this deck had on, its setup play. And I think that was one of the coolest things that they needed to really bring Exosister together. Now, this build is also playing Dark Ruler No More's. Reason for that is you just need cards to go suck. I mean, yes, you do have hand traps and things like that in here, but we live in an environment right now that being able to have your deck shift between first or second is going to mean life or death in the dueling field. So I think that's actually quite nice change to think about. So yeah, it looks like Exosister is actually a very, very competitive build. Now, we do have Branded bringing up third place here. Now, the OCG Branded deck is a completely different creature than its TCG counterpart because they have Expulsion and they have the good old gimmick puppet Lockmaster himself. I really want to tell you that it's completely BS that the OCG still has these tools because it really is. It is mind-boggling to me that the OCG has allowed these tools and components to actually run around because it's not a fun thing to sit down and to deal with, getting gimmick puppet locked. Trust me, I've played against this for so long. It was not a fun experience. Now, you're going to notice we do have the Borreload Furious Dragon down here in the extra deck. We've seen that card popping off so much in the recent TCG markets that it's actually crazy. We also do have Mulcharmy good stuff in the side deck. I think if you were wanting to play an OCG variant, you're going with 2 new Albaz, 1 old Albaz, I think you've got all of your keys and components looking very, very good here. So awesome. Next up here, we have the legendary Elven Notes good stuff. Now, one thing that this list has been doing, that every other list has been following up with, is the fact that Condemned Dark Lord into Crown, into Droplet is kind of starting to show up as the new sauce for this. But Fiendsmith has been the glue that has held this deck together. It has been the thing that has allowed this deck to unnaturally thrive in crazy places. Like, honestly, I am surprised to see just how good this deck has been doing recently. And it's all because, one, I have access to Fiendsmith cards. 2, we can toggle very easily into, Crown Droplet. And when I can get access to that level of, BS, yeah, of course my deck is going to be good. That's all there is to it. So deck looks very, very, very broken for what it's doing. And then our last list here is good old Art Mage. So Art Mage did get a new fusion monster that basically allows you to trigger turning your fin mill into it, and it ends up just kind of being the saving grace of this archetype, which was effectively what they needed. You're also going to notice here we have Mud Dragon, Garua, all standard super poly targets along with Secretarian Dragon. We have a Guardian Chimera on the back burner as well if we need. I also do see that this build is choosing to play a Boral Sword Dragon. So the fact that, you know, we're seeing a lot of good core components with this is good. You also do see in the side deck we're playing a Sales Band. We can thrust into it to take care of any problem card that the opponent might be trying to throw us. I mean, thrust just continuously is one of those best cards that you could have. But this list is quite interesting. This whole event has been interesting just to kind of follow the different success runs that we've seen here. But what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.